This might be what you would refer to as rod bearing failure. When there got so hot that it literally started melting out the side. And running down.
I'd say he's a nut job.
All right, for those that don't know, I had a 390 that I had put together. We had it on a run stand. We was gonna fire it up and do some content with it. Fired it up and then it immediately smoked it. Uh, I mean, it was pretty quick. Within 5 minutes, the engine was done. Less than 5 minutes. I got to digging into it today. Me and my daughter got to digging into it, and I had footage of that, but I do not have the footage now.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
The ones that are new to the channel, I film everything with my phone. And after the last 3 or 4 days that I've had traveling around, it's entirely possible that I stood there and pointed the phone at my daughter and never actually hit the record button.
File that under CS over there.
CS, what's that stand for?
Chicken shit, that's what it is.
But as we tore it apart, I was looking at everything, and everything in this engine was new. Everything. The block was absolutely fresh. I mean, it was absolutely a brand new build. Even the bolts I used were brand new. It literally was all brand new. And as I dug into it, it was weird because everything still looked good, but I seen metal in the valley. But all the lifters look good. You know, you're doing the normal diagnosis. Flipped it over, pulled the oil pan off, and I could see where the center rod on each side had gotten hot. So I pretty much knew what had happened then. Bearing failure. Now, I'm not going to speak negatively of anybody or anything or any company. I'll never do that on here. Here's what I'll tell you, and you can figure out for yourself what you think happened and draw your own conclusion. I am overly meticulous about measuring stuff in clearances. Every one of the pistons, when I bore the block, when the block gets bored, I carry the set of pistons. Every piston is individually measured. Every hole is individually measured and bored, just in case there is a variance. I am very meticulous about ring gaps. I try. Everybody makes mistakes, and I've made mistakes before too. So I'm not going to tell you I'm perfect, and I'm never going to sit here and tell you that. But I'm going to tell you that I try to go out of my way to remove as many variables as possible. And every square inch of this motor was measured and rechecked. And like I said, the center rod bearings on both sides was melted. You've seen it in the intro. In that short time, it literally got so hot that they had started melting and running out the side. But it's just the center too. I can tell you that the crank was turned. After the crank got here, I measured every journal, and they were all exactly the same. I can tell you that I measured every hole on the main caps. They were all the same. I can tell you that every one of the rods had been resized and measured, and they were all exactly the same. And I can tell you that every bearing except the center two on this side still look absolutely perfect. I don't think that both the center bearings, both the rod bearings, I don't think were actually the culprit. I think one of them smoked and the heat kind of melted the other one, is what I think happened. But the clearances are all the same. The tolerances were all the same. And those two bearings are smoked. You can come up with your own guesses as to what happened. I don't know. I have ideas, but like I said, I'm not going to speak ill of anyone. It's just one of those things where it really doesn't matter how it happened. It happened, and now I have a destroyed crank, destroyed 390 crank, and I have a couple of rods that I would not trust now, just because you can look at the rods and see the discolored trail up the rod. So I'll never trust those rods. So those rods will turn into probably trophies and get artwork made out of them or something, and the crank will probably go to the scrap pile because it is eat up so bad on the journal here that I don't think it can be turned enough to recover from it. Maybe it could, but I don't think it can. So here's what's going to happen now, and we're going to go down this wormhole together. I know the most popular engine on the planet is not the 360 FE. I personally have no problem with a 360. I've had a bunch of trucks that had 360s, and I have enjoyed them all. And when they breathe good, 4-barrel intake, set of headers, and a cam, I thought they were actually enjoyable to drive and done their job. So here's what we're going to do. I have, you can't see it there on camera, but right here, I have a brand new 360 crank still wrapped in plastic right there. It's a factory Ford crank. It was sent out to a shop and Magnaflux, cleaned, turned. It's a brand new crank basically. So I have a new 360 crank. I have a set of reconditioned 360 rods. I have a set of brand new, because this motor was run less than 5 minutes, and I've looked at all of them, and all of them are perfect. I'll go through the parts washer and clean them real good. But I have a set of brand new 40 over pistons. I have a cam that I had ground to the specs of a factory 428 Cobra Jet specs. And we're going to build a 360. And we're going to build a 360 that somebody has a truck or something, they just want to drop a motor in, that it's going to be a good 360. It's going to have a little better compression they did from the factory. It's going to have a little better cam. Probably going to have a lot better cam. It's a little over bore. It's going to be probably the best 360 you could have.
750 double pumper, Edelbrock intakes, Ford over 30, 11-to-1 pop-up pistons, turbojet, 390 horsepower. We're talking some fucking muscle.
Now, I know it's still a 360, and I know people are going to give me hate on the 360, but I have the stuff here. You'll see how we do things, and we'll talk about some things as we go. I'm sure I get in such a groove of just doing these. I'm sure that I'll end up doing something and moving past it and not saying what I'm doing, and I'll have to come back and tell you what I did. I'm sure that's going to happen. But we're going to build a 360, and it's going to be the best version of a 360 that it can be. One of the first things that I'm going to do, this block needs to be cleaned really well because metal did go through it. So it needs to be cleaned really well. Brushes in every orifice. The oil galleys need to be cleaned. This thing needs to be really cleaned. Before I clean it, what I'm going to do is take a dingle ball home and just real quick hit each cylinder, just woo a couple times, just to clean them up real good. Make sure that I can physically eyeball each one, make sure everything's good. I will go back and I'll measure each bore. We'll do all that, and when we know all that's good, after we cleaned all this, or after we hit these with a dingle ball home, then we'll go through and just clean the entire block real good and then we'll start assembling a 360. I literally have everything here to build this motor with the exception of a water pump and head gaskets. I have everything else here to build this with, and we're going to do a stock appearing 360 so that when we're done with it, this motor will go up for sale. Try to get some funds back into the shop, pay off a couple of debts, and when we're done with it, I'm going to have a motor that looks like a factory stock replacement motor, but it performs a little better. So we're going to paint it back the correct Ford blue. I have a cast iron intake. Yes, a cast iron intake, but it's an S intake. It's a little better. I'm gonna put the factory intake on it, factory heads on it. Again, it's going to be the best version of a Ford 360 that it can be, and it'll be a great engine for somebody that has a truck that has a tired motor and wants to replace it with this. I think it'll be the perfect engine for it. Or, as far as that goes, you can put it in anything. It's not like it has to go in a truck. It's just, generally speaking, that's where a 360 ends up at. But it's not a race engine. It's not a hot rod engine, but it's an engine that you could drive out and back to work for many, many years and get many, many years of service out of it and get some enjoyment out of that truck or car or whatever you have laying around. But I'm going to keep it kind of mild so that it runs off pump gas, that anybody can put it in anything they have and absolutely enjoy it. So let's get into it. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit these cylinders really quick with a dingle ball hone. The one thing you want to do when you use these things is you want to put a little bit of lube on them. You don't want to put it in the cylinder dry. And I've already done these first two, well, these last two over here. So put her in there. Give her just 4 or 5 little whoop-de-doos up and down. Normally you'd want to use like a tack cloth or a lint-free rag or something to do this, but again, we got to put this in the parts washer and clean this block really well anyway, so I'm not really concerned about that right now. And I always put a little extra light on it and look down in here, and I just want to make sure that I don't see anything that looks out of place, any kind of discoloration, any crazy marks, that everything just looks good in there. And that's all you need. All you need, just you can see the nice crosshatch in it, good clean cylinder walls. Move on. Alright, so I have been hand cleaning this block, running brushes through oil galleys, and I got to run out and get some more stuff, but this is one of the processes that you need to spend some time on. I will go through here with brushes and whatever cleaner you choose and just work these oil galleys and all the little holes and orifices and everything, just to make sure you get them clean. Then I will put the block in the parts washer and let the block go through the parts washer. Yes, I know some people just stick it in part washer and let it clean it, but I like to go the extra step. Cleanliness is the life of one of these engines. So after it comes out of the parts washer, I will then take the brushes and run through everything one more time and determine then how everything looks. Everything looks good. I actually will spray a little oil over everything, light film down in the valley here, and on the brushes, and in the oil galleys and all that stuff. Just get a little light film in there, just to keep any possible flash rushing. Flash? Why can I not speak today? Any possible flash rusting from happening. And then at that point, we can start the process of assembling the engine. This is, again, this is just going to be a 360. It's not going to be anything special. We're doing more of a engine you would find in, I guess, a restoration project. I'm going to go through, get everything cleaned up, and then, as I said, there may have been other stuff out there, but every 360 I've ever seen was blue, because they kind of came along in that time frame. So it's going to go back to the correct Ford blue. It's going to have the correct powered by Ford valve covers. I may even go so far as to try to find the stickers that go on the valve covers and all, and make this a really nice, just a really nice restoration looking engine. And hopefully it's something that somebody will get and actually enjoy. But when I'm done with it, we'll put it on the run stand, fire it up, and listen at it run. And hopefully, with our cam choice, it has a real nice, nice sound to it at idle. Has smooth transition to it. It should be a real healthy 360, and hopefully somebody will pick it up and put it in something cool. But I've got to pick up some cleaner, some more cleaner, and do some more cleaning on this thing, and then we'll get it flipped over and put the crank in. We'll get the bearings put in, and we'll get the crank put in, and we'll start putting this thing together. Yeah, this is going to be a cool motor, and we're going to do a little build series on it, and hopefully it'll be a build series that y'all will tune in for. And our goal is to build the best 360 that can be built. And we're going to give a 360 every chance to run as good as it possibly can run while still being a good street engine. You know, 4-valve relief pistons. We're not going with any dome piston. We're not trying to get any crazy compression out of it. 4-valve relief pistons. Try to get maybe 10-to-1 out of it. I'll be happy with 9.5-to-1. We'll just have to do the math and see what it comes out. See what heads I have up here. But I'll be happy in that range. The little Cobra Jet cam, little Cobra Jet grind cam, should give it a little extra oomph to it. It really should be a decent engine, guys. I hope y'all follow along with this build. I really hope you enjoy it. I'm going to show you a lot of the things that I do, little tips and tricks that I do on FEs. We will walk through and talk about some of the modifications that a lot of people like to do to FEs. Some I'll do to this, some I won't, simply because who knows what the future may hold for this thing. Whoever ends up with it may decide to rip it straight apart and make a 390 or something out of it. I don't know. 410, anything like that. So I don't know. So we're not going to go over the moon with it, but we're just going to make a nice, healthy engine. Hope you guys enjoy this series. I hope you tune in to watch this series. Hope you hit the little like, subscribe, and all that stuff. And we're going to get this thing put together and put it on the run stand, fire it up, and let it run. And hopefully it sounds kind of good. Let's see what we can do with the 360. Hope the Lord blesses you more today than He did yesterday. God bless y'all. Thank you to each and every one who has subscribed. Love you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.
I'd say it's a nut job.